Welcome back to Not Theoretical. I'm Lena.
And I'm Dan. Here on Not Theoretical, we're all about taking those big, sometimes complex ideas and distilling them into practical, real-world steps. Our goal is to help you turn insight into lasting action.
And today, for our very first episode, we're diving deep into the mind of one of history's most profound thinkers, Socrates. We're going to explore how his unique mindset, often overlooked, can make us unshakable in our own lives. We'll be breaking down 5 core Socratic concepts that work together to help you navigate life with clarity and courage, from admitting what you don't know to facing tough consequences. If you're someone who feels overwhelmed by opinions, struggles with making clear decisions, or just wants to live with more integrity, then this episode is for you. And honestly, anyone who loves a good philosophical deep dive that actually applies to real life might want to share this one with a friend.
Absolutely, it's about taking those ancient ideas and seeing how they're incredibly relevant today. So, Lena, where do we start with Socrates?
Well, the first concept, and perhaps the most foundational, is what we're calling begin with nothing. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Like, how do you begin with nothing? But it's about acknowledging your ignorance. Socrates believed true understanding starts with humility, admitting what you don't know.
Yeah, it's a quiet rebellion in a world where everyone's shouting their opinions. It's about pausing before you judge, asking yourself, what am I missing? It's not about feeling dumb. It's about opening your mind to learn.
Exactly. Think about Socrates wandering Athens, gently questioning poets and politicians, and realizing they were often blind to their own gaps. That humility saved him from arrogance, and it can save us from rash decisions. Why rush to answers when the right questions lead to deeper truths?
It's like clearing a cluttered desk before starting a new project. You need that blank slate to truly see what's possible. I was just thinking about Maya, a project manager at a tech startup. In a heated meeting about a new app feature, her colleague was insisting, "We need this to compete. It's obvious." But Maya paused. She sensed the rush. And instead of agreeing or disagreeing, she asked, "Hang on, what do we not know about this feature? How will users actually respond?" The room quieted. Her colleague admitted they hadn't tested it with their core demographic. By admitting those gaps, the team avoided a potentially costly mistake. And Maya, she felt a surge of confidence leading with that kind of clarity. It's powerful.
It really is. And that leads us perfectly into our second concept, cultivate curiosity. Ever notice how some conversations leave you feeling enlightened while others just spark fights? Socrates mastered the art of curious questioning. It wasn't about proving someone wrong. It was about exploring together.
Right. Think of sitting with a friend asking, "What makes you so passionate about this?" and watching their eyes light up as they discover their own contradictions. Socrates used this with everyone, helping them see gaps in their own thinking. Why settle for shallow debates when curious questions can unlock deeper understanding?
It builds trust, doesn't it? Like you're on a shared quest for truth. It's like a gardener tending a plant, gently pruning to help it grow stronger. I remember reading about Mr. Carter, a history teacher, and his student Sophia. She was passionately arguing about free speech. Instead of lecturing, he asked, "Sophia, what's an example of free speech you've seen?" And she mentioned a protest. He then gently pushed her. "Great. What makes that speech free? Does it apply to all situations?" Sophia paused, then admitted, "I guess it's complicated. Like, what about harmful speech?" That back and forth drew in other students. By the end of class, Sophia was beaming, saying, "I never thought about it like that." Mr. Carter sparked real thinking, not just rote memorization. It's about guiding, not dictating.
Which brings us to our third Socratic idea, find truth in chaos. In a world buzzing with arguments, people often talk past each other, using the same words but meaning different things. Socrates saw this in Athens' chaotic debates and insisted on defining terms like justice or courage.
It's like shining a flashlight in a foggy night. Suddenly, you see the path. By asking, "What do you mean by fair?" You uncover hidden disagreements and focus on what truly matters. This isn't just splitting hairs. It's about getting to the heart of conflicts.
Why let vague words stir up anger when clarity can bring calm? Defining terms feels empowering, like taking control of a messy conversation and steering it toward truth. It's like a chef sharpening a knife to make precise cuts for a perfect dish.
A great analogy. I was thinking about Jamal, a community organizer. At a meeting, neighbors were clashing over a new park policy. One shouted, "It's unfair to limit hours." Another snaped, "Fairness means safety." And Jamal, instead of letting it escalate, raised a hand and said, "Let's pause. What does fair mean here? Can someone define it?" A woman said, "Equal access for all." A man added, "But also protecting kids at night." Jamal nodded. "So, fairness includes access and safety? Let's talk solutions that fit both." The tension eased and ideas flowed. He turned chaos into progress by insisting on definition.
That's powerful. And once you have that clarity, you need to be able to stand by it. Which brings us to never back down. What's the cost of bending your values just to fit in? Socrates believed every choice you make carves your character, like a sculptor chiseling stone. He refused unjust orders, even at great risk, because he knew acting against your principles harms you more than any external punishment.
It's about asking, can I live with myself if I do this? This isn't stubbornness. It's courage to be true to what you know is right. In a world pushing you to conform, standing firm feels like a quiet victory, filling you with pride and purpose.
Why trade your integrity for fleeting comfort when holding steady builds a life you respect? It's like a tree standing tall in a storm, rooted deeply to withstand the wind. Think about Elena, a nurse. She faced pressure at her hospital to falsify patient records to speed up discharges. Her boss said, "It's just paperwork. Everyone does it." But Elena's stomach churned. She asked herself, "If I sign this, can I explain it to my patients?" At the next meeting, she said, "I can't do it. It's not right." Her boss glared, but Elena held firm, later reporting the issue. She risked her job, but she slept soundly, knowing she was true to her values. That's the kind of unshakable character Socrates embodied.
And finally, the fifth concept, which really ties everything together. Brave the consequences. What does it mean to live a life you can stand behind no matter the cost? Socrates chose death over silencing his questions, believing an unexamined life isn't worth living. He saw himself as a gadfly, stinging society awake, even if it meant facing a jury's wrath.
It's about asking, will I regret abandoning what I believe? This courage isn't reckless. It's a deep commitment to truth that makes you feel alive, even in tough moments. Why fear consequences when living authentically gives you unshakable strength?
Standing firm, like Socrates, inspires others and leaves a legacy of integrity. It's like a lighthouse keeper staying at their post during a storm to guide ships safely. Raj, an engineer, comes to mind. He opposed a shady development deal at a city council meeting, backed by powerful developers. Colleagues warned, "You'll lose contracts if you speak out." But Raj replied, "If I stay quiet, I'm not doing my job." He stood up and said, "This deal ignores safety codes. It's wrong." The room hushed, then boos followed. He lost a client, but he gained respect from residents, feeling a quiet pride in his stand.
These 5 Socratic concepts, beginning with nothing, cultivating curiosity, finding truth in chaos, never backing down, and braving the consequences, they really do fit together like pieces of a puzzle.
Absolutely. They guide you to think clearly and live with purpose. You start with humility to open your mind, use curiosity to dig deeper, clarify terms to resolve conflicts, stand firm on your values, and then face the fallout with courage.
Together, they form a roadmap for navigating life's toughest moments, from workplace dilemmas to personal crossroads. For our listeners who want to explore these ideas in even more detail, with all the stories and practical steps we touched on, we highly recommend checking out the companion article on our Not Theoretical Substack. It's titled, "You Might Be Missing the One Mindset That Made Socrates Unshakable."
And stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be covering why most of what we do doesn't move the needle. We'll explore the 80-20 principle, why just a few actions create most of our results, and how to spot them. If you're stretched thin, juggling too much, or just want more clarity, this one's worth your time. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what works. That's our discussion for today. Thanks for tuning in to Not Theoretical.
Until next time, keep seeking that Socratic clarity and courage.